Imagine this. You've spent the last 2 years sculpting your body, growing your income, building a lifestyle that checks every box on the high-value man list. You drive a sleek car, dress like a man who means business, and walk with confidence. According to everything you've read or heard from dating gurus, you should be swimming in female attention. But in reality, women are kind, but detached. They show up, but they don't chase. They smile, but they don't burn with desire. And then you notice something that doesn't make sense. Your friend, no 6-figure income, no kislet jolain, no social proof. He lives in a small apartment and drives a beta car, but women orbit around him. They text first. They flirt hard. They don't want to lose him. You start to wonder, what does he have that I don't? Is there something wrong with me? Or have I been taught the wrong rules of attraction altogether? What if I told you that what draws women in has nothing to do with your lifestyle, and everything to do with your presence, that it's not your results, but your energy that ignites obsession? That women fall for the man who doesn't try to win them because he's already whole. Today, we're going to dismantle one of the biggest lies sold to men. We'll uncover the hidden psychology that makes certain men unforgettable, not for what they do, but for how they carry themselves. And I must warn you, once you see what's really happening beneath the surface of attraction, you won't be able to go back to the old way of thinking. This isn't a pickup tactic. It's a shift in your inner framework, a shift that will change not only how women see you, but how you see yourself. Before we can talk about how women get emotionally addicted to men, we first need to expose the biggest myth that's been fed to you for years. Modern culture has convinced men that attraction is formulaic, a checklist, that if you check off enough boxes, money, looks, charisma, success, women will naturally fall for you. So, you follow the blueprint, hit the gym, stack your income, build social proof, learn game, show off your worth, and you're told, this is how love works. But for so many men, after years of playing by these rules, nothing changes. They feel invisible, confused, even bitter. They've become polished on the outside, but unattractive on the inside. Here's the brutal truth. Women don't fall in love with your resume. They fall in love with how they feel in your presence, and most importantly, with your internal energy. They don't become addicted to what you flaunt. They become addicted to who you are when you're not performing for the world. The most magnetic trait a man can develop isn't wealth, status, or charm. It's self-possession. But most men will never cultivate this because they're too distracted by chasing applause from women, from society, from themselves. As long as your sense of worth is attached to things you have to prove, you'll never radiate the kind of energy that pulls her in. You'll remain stuck in the trap, a man trying to earn what only a grounded man can attract. Let's talk about a concept that will completely shift how you view attraction, a hidden force behind nearly every case of female obsession, sexual market value discrepancy. This idea explains why some men become unforgettable to women, while others, despite seeming perfect, barely register on their radar. It's not about how much you earn, how you look, or what status you carry. It's about how she feels your value relative to her own. Women don't fall into deep desire for men they see as equals. They fall for men they subconsciously view as above them. Here's where it gets misunderstood. Most men assume this value is calculated by physical appearance, income, or social reputation. But that's not how attraction works. It's not objective. It's perceptual. And perception is shaped entirely by your internal state. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine a bar with 10 people, 4 men, 6 women. One man walks in wearing designer clothes. He has the body of a Greek statue, and he owns a private jet. Another guy enters, he's dressed simply, drives an old car, and on paper, he's broke. But when someone cracks a joke, that second man responds with a sharp, effortless comeback. No performance, no ego, just presence, confidence, timing. In that moment, every woman turns slightly toward him, not because of what he owns, but because of what he radiates. This is the core truth. Sexual market value isn't about what's in your bank account. It's about the energy you transmit without saying a word. A man rooted in self-belief, authenticity, and calm presence will always outshine a man who merely looks the part. Women don't consciously analyze your achievements. They feel your level. Instantly, they ask silent questions. Does he need my approval? Is he centered or seeking? Does he know his own worth? Or is he performing? And based on your energy, she'll place you in one of 2 mental categories. Above me, below me. If you fall into the above frame, she becomes intrigued, pulled in, sometimes addicted. If you fall into the below frame, she disconnects, no matter how impressive your life appears on the surface. That's the irony. Men who chase external validation end up projecting lower value, while the man who doesn't chase anyone silently communicates he's in his own league. And that's the kind of man women can't forget. Here's one of the harshest truths most men never realize. The harder you try to impress a woman, the more likely you are to lower your value in her eyes. Why? Because the act of trying to impress communicates one thing loudly: you don't believe you're enough, as you are. You're not showing confidence, you're showcasing self-doubt. And women can feel that instantly. When you operate from a mindset of proving your worth, you're subconsciously telling her that your value is conditional, that you need her approval to feel validated. And that energy doesn't attract her. It repels her. Meanwhile, the man who makes no effort to impress, who's deeply rooted in himself, who doesn't need anyone's validation, he automatically signals high value. Why? Because he's already complete. He's not performing. He's just being. That's when women start paying attention. That's when obsession begins. And one of the most powerful forces behind that obsession, pre-selection. It's the subtle sense that other women find you attractive. But here's where most men get it all wrong. They think pre-selection means flirting with multiple women in front of her, showing off, or bragging about how many women like them. That's not pre-selection. That's desperation disguised as confidence. Real pre-selection is quiet. It's calm. It's the presence of a man who has options, but isn't thirsty to prove it. He doesn't seek attention. He commands it. When a woman senses that other women desire you not because you've said it, but because your energy reflects it, she doesn't just become competitive. She becomes curious. She starts asking herself, what do other women see in this man that I'm missing? That curiosity is the first seed of addiction. But here's the secret most men miss. You can't fake pre-selection. Women are biologically wired to detect authenticity. They've evolved for it. So, if you pretend to have abundance while secretly craving her attention, she'll feel the gap, and she'll back away. Which leads us to one of the most important distinctions in attraction psychology: internal value versus external value. Most men chase external value all their lives: money, looks, career, Status. They believe that if they accumulate enough things, they'll finally feel attractive. They'll finally become confident, but that never happens. You can give a man millions of dollars, a perfect body, and public recognition, but if he's still insecure inside, women will feel it, and they'll pull away. Because women aren't drawn to your assets, they're drawn to your energy. It's not what you own, it's how you make her feel. And if your confidence is built on things that can be taken away, it's fragile. It's temporary. But when your confidence is built on internal self-respect, on peace, presence, and purpose, that confidence becomes magnetic, unshakable. Men who understand this truth stop chasing approval. They stop trying to be impressive. They start becoming grounded, calm, powerful in silence. These are the men women become addicted to. Nothing kills attraction faster than the scent of neediness when you need her praise, her compliments, or her affection to feel whole. You've entered what I call the validation death spiral. You become a successful beggar. On the outside, you've got the looks, the money, maybe even the charisma. But internally, you're still begging for someone to tell you you're enough. And women can sense it, always. Because if you don't believe in your own value, why should she? The men who truly captivate women don't seek validation. They validate themselves. They know their worth without needing anyone else to confirm it. A compliment doesn't inflate them. An insult doesn't shake them. Their confidence comes from within, from a place so rare in today's world. It's magnetic. Most people are starving for approval. They live for likes, compliments, and attention. So when a woman meets a man who doesn't crave her validation, his value skyrockets in her eyes. He instantly stands out. One of the rarest and most powerful traits a man can develop is presence. The ability to be fully engaged in the moment. This may sound simple, but most men live in either the past, burdened by regret, or the future, obsessed with outcomes and strategies. Their minds are never where their feet are. Even in a conversation with a woman, they're rehearsing lines, anticipating reactions, never truly listening. But the man who is still calm, focused, fully grounded in the present, creates a kind of gravity. Women feel it. They feel seen, heard, and understood. And that's addictive. Presence is a signal of emotional control. It tells her, this man isn't ruled by chaos. He's not racing toward results or haunted by yesterday. He's here, and here is exactly where she wants to be. A man who's comfortable with himself, who doesn't need to fill silence, who doesn't need approval, radiates power without saying a word. That's the kind of energy women don't forget, because it's not a performance. It's who you are when nothing is trying. Here's a truth that most men never question. What if the things you think you want were never truly yours to begin with? Chances are, most of your goals, desire, and even insecurities have been installed by society, media, and cultural programming. Why do you want the six-pack, the luxury car, the dream salary? If you dig deep, it's likely because somewhere along the way, you were told those things would make you enough, attractive, worthy, desirable. But what happens when you pause and strip all of that away? What would you want if you erased everything society ever told you to chase? What if you questioned every goal, every ambition, and asked, is this mine or was it planted? Very few men ever take that moment. They're too busy chasing dreams that don't even belong to them, running hard on a treadmill someone else built. But the men who become magnetic, the ones women become emotionally addicted to, have stepped off that treadmill. They live by their own values, pursue goals that resonate with their soul, and define success on their own terms. This kind of authenticity is rare, and in a world full of imitation, realness is intoxicating. Here's the deeper problem. Most men believe they want things like money, looks, or status, but what they actually crave is confidence. They chase abs, hoping they'll finally feel good in their skin. They chase money, hoping they'll finally feel powerful. But external rewards don't create true confidence. They create conditional confidence, a fragile version that vanishes the moment the reward is removed or threatened. Real confidence isn't about adding more. It's about accepting who you are now without conditions. Not someday, not after the body, not after the raise. Now, some of the most visibly successful men still feel insecure, while some of the most grounded men live with unshakable confidence, not because they achieved more, but because they stopped needing more to feel complete. Every time you tie your self-worth to an outcome, you whisper to yourself, "I'm not enough yet." And that belief doesn't empower you, it weakens you. Here's a hard truth. Most men avoid. The moment you make sex your main goal with women, you hand over all your power. Think about it. If your sense of worth, your confidence, your mood all depend on whether she sleeps with you, then you've made her the guardian of your emotional life. She gets to decide when you feel like a man and when you don't. And women can feel this energy from a mile away. When they know that's all you're after, it gives them complete leverage over you. They can dangle the idea of sex to get you to chase harder, act softer, or compromise who you are. And worse, they can withdraw it whenever they want to punish or control you. But something changes when sex isn't your obsession. When you're present, enjoying the moment, connecting for real, she feels it. Suddenly, you're not the one chasing validation. You're not desperate. And ironically, that's when she starts to feel drawn to you, even sexually. Here's the paradox. One of the most attractive things a man can do is say no to sex. Not because he's playing games, but because he's in control of himself, because he values his time, his peace, and connection more than physical release. And that decision to turn down sex when the moment isn't right sends powerful signals. You have options. You're grounded. You're not just another man begging for attention. You don't chase. You choose. Most men are so starved for intimacy. They say yes to any opportunity, no matter how hollow. But the man who walks away from instant pleasure to protect his power, that's the man she'll remember. That's the man she'll crave. The men who truly understand how to create emotional addiction in women know a secret. Sometimes, rejection is more powerful than acceptance. At the core of male attractiveness is emotional stillness, the ability to remain calm, composed, and centered no matter what chaos surrounds you. This isn't about being cold or numb. It's about being emotionally anchored. When a woman can't shake your inner peace, when her tests, her words, or even her silence don't move you, you show her a strength that most men don't have. You become like a lighthouse in a storm, grounded, unwavering, and hard to forget. This type of stoicism doesn't push women away. It pulls them closer. Why? Because it allows you to be truly present with her. When you're not worried about how she sees you, not desperate for approval, not planning your next move, you can actually connect. And that is what creates deep emotional addiction, not tricks or tactics. But here's what most men miss. Men are visual. We fall for what we see. But women, they fall for what they feel. That's why you'll see women obsessing over men who aren't traditionally attractive while ignoring others who have perfect looks but no emotional presence. Because women don't fall in love with your appearance. They fall in love with your energy, with how you make them feel when you're with them. If your energy is rooted in validation-seeking, anxiety, or insecurity, they'll feel it and pull away. But if your energy is calm, focused, self-assured, they'll crave it. The key is this: don't focus on being impressive. Focus on being real. Don't chase approval. Be the man who knows who he is and doesn't need the world to confirm it. Because once she feels that she won't just be attracted, she'll be addicted. Grounded men have a rare kind of magnetism, the kind that doesn't need to speak loudly to be felt. In a world full of men who are anxious, reactive, and constantly chasing something external to feel whole, a man who is calm, rooted, and content stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. He's not rushing to prove anything. He's not begging to be seen. He's just grounded, and that energy speaks for itself. People naturally gravitate toward his presence, and women, especially, are drawn to it. Why? Because grounded energy makes a woman feel emotionally safe, not judged, not rushed, not overwhelmed. It gives her space to relax, to breathe, to feel. That alone sets you apart from most men. But groundedness does more than attract, it protects. It shields you from the 4 deadliest traps that kill male attractiveness: neediness, desperate validation seeking, clinging to outcomes, emotional overreactions. When you're grounded, none of those control you. You hold your center even when things get chaotic. You're not reactive. You're responsible. And this is the foundation of emotional addiction. Because the real secret to creating long-term female obsession is this internal peace. Being at peace with who you are, where you are, and what you have right now. That doesn't mean giving up on growth. It means growing from a place of love instead of self-loathing. You improve because you want to, not because you feel unworthy. And when you reach that level of inner peace, everything changes. You no longer need attention to feel important. You no longer fear silence or solitude. You don't need to take. You can give freely. This energy is rare, and it's addictive, because most people are walking around wounded, incomplete, and searching. But a man who has done the inner work, who doesn't need the world to complete him, that man becomes magnetic without even trying. True connection with a woman doesn't come from strategy. It comes from presence, the ability to truly see her in that moment, without distraction. To do that, you need more than words. You need awareness. You need empathy. You need emotional intelligence. It's about tuning into her energy, feeling her emotional state, and responding from a place of truth, not from a calculated plan. Most men never master this. They're so caught up in trying to impress, win, or game her, that they miss the moment unfolding right in front of them. They speak while plotting their next line. They listen while evaluating their next move. And that disconnection, she feels it. Real attraction lives in presence, not performance. The deepest kind of attraction is born when masculine and feminine energy collide in harmony. This has nothing to do with gender stereotypes and everything to do with energetic polarity. Masculine energy is stillness, direction, certainty, and strength. Feminine energy is flow, emotion, intuition, and openness. When a woman feels a man deeply rooted in his masculine energy, she feels safe enough to lean into her feminine nature, and that's where desire grows. But many modern men have lost touch with that masculine stillness. They react, they chase, they overthink, and without realizing it, they take on traits that drain attraction. That's why one of the most magnetic traits you can develop is non-reactivity. It's the ability to remain composed when she tests you, silent when she pulls away, and grounded when emotions get high. This doesn't mean being cold. It means being steady. It means showing her without saying a word that nothing she does can shake your inner foundation. And that quiet strength, that's what she craves. When you're not desperate for her approval, everything changes. You become a man of quiet strength, calm under pressure, impossible to manipulate, and difficult to predict. This creates mystery. It creates curiosity. It forces her to lean in, to try harder to get an emotional response from you. And that effort, that's called investment. And wherever there's investment, attachment follows. But here's the real question. Now that you understand the psychology behind female obsession, how do you apply this to your life? It starts with brutal honesty. Audit your motivations. Ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Are you working out because you enjoy it or because you hope someone will notice? Are you building wealth because it fulfills you or because it makes you feel more desirable? Are you improving in yourself because it aligns with your values or because you want to prove your worth? If your motivation is rooted in seeking approval from others, you're trapped. That's the validation loop. And it's exhausting. The solution: develop internal validation. Start building your sense of worth from within, not from outcomes, achievements, or attention. This means practicing self-acceptance, treating yourself with compassion, recognizing your own value without waiting for permission from the outside world. Next, cultivate presence. Put away the distractions. Stop planning your next move in conversations. Learn to truly listen, to simply be in the moment with the person in front of you. This one shift will transform the quality of your relationships. Then, embrace authenticity. Stop molding yourself into what you think women want. Start showing up as who you actually are. It's risky. It takes courage, but it's the only path to real attraction. And finally, build stoic strength. Train yourself to stay composed when tested. Remain calm under criticism. Stay grounded, no matter the chaos around you. Heal your emotional wounds. Do the inner work. Seek therapy. Meditate. Reflect, whatever it takes. Because this journey isn't just about attracting women, it's about becoming the kind of man who naturally attracts everything aligned with his truth. Women, friendships, respect, purpose. When you embody presence, authenticity, and emotional stillness, the world responds to you differently. And you don't just become attractive, you become unforgettable. Before we close, there's something important you need to hear. This knowledge is powerful, but like all power, it must be used with responsibility. Don't use this understanding to manipulate or control women. The goal isn't to trick anyone. It's not about gaming the system. It's about becoming the kind of man who no longer needs games. Remember, women are human beings. They feel deeply. They carry their own fears, hopes, and vulnerabilities. Respect that. Use this knowledge to build authentic connection, not selfish advantage. The true secret to becoming irresistible isn't found in tactics. It's found in transformation. Become so secure in yourself that you don't need anyone else to make you feel whole. When your emotional stability comes from within, when your peace isn't dependent on approval, attention, or validation, that's when you become magnetic. Not because you're trying to impress, but because you're finally free. This isn't about tricks. It's about truth. The truth that who you are inside determines what you attract outside. The truth that when you stop chasing women, you start attracting them. And the deeper truth that when you stop trying to be desirable, you become desirable. This journey isn't easy, but it's real, and it's worth it. Because when you commit to this inner work, something powerful happens. You stop chasing outcomes. You stop begging for validation. You stop performing, and you start living. You become the kind of man that doesn't just attract attention. You attract respect. You attract connection. You attract love that actually lasts. Not because you needed it, but because you no longer did. That's the paradox. When you stop needing women, they start needing you. And that's when the game ends, because you've outgrown the game. So, if this message resonated with you, if you're ready to stop chasing and start becoming, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and keep walking the path of grounded masculinity, because the world needs fewer men who chase and more men who stand still and lead.